Hi, I'm Rob Miller, the Safety Director with El Keeley Construction. And as part of Safety Week, we wanted to talk about one of the most dangerous things that many of us do on a daily basis, and that's driving safety. And we're going to cover 3 elements today of driving safety that can keep both you and your family safe.
Hi, I'm Tim Michael, Safety Director with ADB Companies. And the first point I want to hit on is backing your vehicle. So one thing you may notice if you've been to any of the Keeley Companies facilities, and hopefully some of the significant others and loved ones at home, is you may notice that all the vehicles in the parking lot are going to be backed in. Fantastic. Statistically speaking, it's the safest way to park your vehicle. Now, it's not the best way right off. So the best way, the first thing you'd want to look for is a spot where you could pull straight into and then pull straight out of, right? So you eliminate backing altogether. That's the first step. If you can't do that, which oftentimes you cannot, it's not always possible, then your best option is going to be to back into your spot. Now, when you back into your spot, it's less hazardous because you have more control over the background. You kind of know where you're going. You have control over the unknowns. If you're leaving your spot for the day and you haven't been out to your car in several hours, and there could be other cars popping up, there could be other objects in your way, there's more opportunity to hit something if you're backing out as you're leaving.
The second element that we wanted to talk about for safe driving was distractions. Now, there's never going to be 0 distractions while you're driving. So what we have to do is we have to minimize those distractions or sometimes eliminate at least one of the 3. And the 3 big distractions that we're going to talk about are visual, physical, and cognitive. So your visual distractions are anything that's going to take your eyes off the road. Whether it's a billboard or someone in a vehicle beside you, whatever it is, anything that makes you move your eyes and look at something else, a deer out in the field. Physical distractions are going to be anything that takes you away from your actual driving. So you're sitting at 9 and 3 because we have airbags now, it's no longer 10 and 2, right? So we're sitting at 9 and 3. If we reach for something, that's a physical distraction because we're no longer actually actively driving with everything we have. Changing a radio station, physical distraction. If you drive at 12 and fries, that's a visual distraction because it's taking your body out of that act of driving. That third distraction is a cognitive distraction. That's a mental distraction. And what that is anything that takes your mind off of driving. So any of these distractions can hit any one or more of these elements, but when we think about cognitive distractions, we think about conversations that we're having with people, whether it's hands-free or not on our phone, it takes our mind off of driving, especially if those conversations have any type of recollection that we have to do or any type of planning that we have to do. Any of these conversations that have either a really high or really low emotions that take place with them. So whether it puts you in a really good mood or really, really crappy mood, those are the things that can cause those cognitive distractions because you're thinking more about that than you are about that act of driving. And remember, any of these distractions at any point can be multiple. If when you're driving at home, you got kids in the back, you reach over and you're telling one of them something or you're getting something from one of them and bring it back over to you, that is a visual, a physical, and a cognitive distraction altogether. So like I said, there's never going to be any time where you get to eliminate all distractions, but if we can minimize those, which means that if you can only have the visual for a very short amount of time, because you have kids in the car, you want to check on one of them real quick so you glance over, that's fine, but just trigger yourself to understand that that distraction's there.
Another important element of a safe driving program and safe overall driving is going to be your following distance. So at Keeley Companies, we believe in the 4-second following distance. That's going to apply to anyone driving a vehicle in perfect conditions, right? So normal vehicle, standard vehicle, not your commercial vehicles or your heavier loads. So if we look at individuals driving those types of vehicles, as you're driving down the road, pick a spot on the highway. I always use one of the middle lines that's marked. Wait till that car in front of you, their rear tires pass that spot. As they pass that spot, start counting. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Hopefully you get all the way to 4 Mississippi, then you know you have an appropriate following distance. That's your 4-second following distance. If you don't get that far, you slow down, you try it again. Get to that point to where you have that full 4 seconds, and then you can kind of gauge from there. You don't have to count the whole time. But I can tell you, if you are counting and if you are focusing on this act, you're paying attention to one of the most important things, which is driving.
So in closing, we just wanted to reiterate the 3 biggest things that we can do to keep ourselves safe, to keep our family safe while we're driving. And that's when you're coming in to park, we want to make sure that we try to avoid backing at all costs. If we do have to back, we want to back into a spot rather than back out of the spot. Second thing is distractions. We want to avoid or minimize those distractions as much as possible to make sure that we make it to our destination as safely as we can. And the third thing is that following distance. That following distance is going to allow you the perception time, the reaction time, and the time it takes for you to slow your vehicle down and get stopped if necessary. And we always go that 4-second following distance. So if you follow those 3 safe driving principles, you're going to have a much better chance of getting home at the end of the day or getting to work at the beginning of the day, and the same thing with your family.
Well, Rob, you know what time it is?
What time is it, Tim?
It's time to get awkward.
All right, let's go. On 3?
On 3.
1, 2, 3. Hashtag Keeley Safe.